Yes, continue. Manur Yaqub, continue, please.
Sir, it is not my presentation, sir.
Yeah, Manur Yaqub, continue. Manur Bandos, continue. Are you listening to me?
Sir, she is not present.
He is not present. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. बोले
सर महानूर कह रही है कि क्लास ज्वाइन करी, थोड़ी देर आप वेट करेंगे, लेकिन कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा उससे।
जब कनेक्ट हो जाएगा तो हम उनसे कंटिन्यू करवा लेंगे। Okay, Urush Ghulam present? No.
Sir, I'm still waiting, sir.
Name.
Hanif Razak.
Hanif Razak, you start. I'm opening your one. Get ready. Start.
Yes. Hi, this is Hanif Razak. Today I'm going to present the Chaucer Art of Characterization. Sir, please next. First of all, we discussed what is characterization. Characterization is that art, skill, and abilities. The character show is ability and skill through is characterization. So the art of is the character shows is art by its characterization, skills, and abilities as well. So next. So there is we can find there is two type of characterization. One is direct characterization, second is indirect characterization. Indirect characterization, the character shows like something is physical, by his work, by his position and personality, and etc. And if we talk about the indirect characterization, when the character is described through their speech, action, and thoughts. So the character, like if we talk about the Chaucer shows indirect characterization, like Knight, Miller, and etc. So next, sir. Okay, so there we are we are about to talk about the qualities of Chaucer art of characterization. First, I would like to tell you about the realism, how the Chaucer was the realist. Whatever he sees, whatever he saw around him, he shows his own work. Like I would like to give you the example of Night Tales. When the Peliman and Arside, they were two cousins. They promised to each other, we will never fight for a girl. But as time goes by, they fall in love in a particular girl. They fought for her. So the Chaucer shows is characterized how the human can be the human can be fall, and like sir, he shows is all the realism, the society realism, this thing still exists in our society as well. The people are fighting for a property and a girl, sir. The second thing is humor. The second, first of all, I would like to tell you about the meaning of humor. The humor meaning that makes fun on someone and shows in highlight is weakness. So the humor, the Chaucer used the humor like if you talk about the Miller and Reed, the how the Miller and how in the Miller tales, the carpenter how become how become like uh, uh, like the carpenter doesn't know what happened. The carpenter did not know what happened behind of him. Though maybe everyone knows about the Canterbury tales, I don't need to tell. So if we sir we talk about the irony and satire, so here the irony and satire is take little touch of humor, like irony mean to to criticize, and satire to show someone weakness. So if you talk about the irony, I would like to give you the example of monk, how the monk left his all like duties and uh, go through the corruption, and what happening. The moon left his all duties and not concentrating on his work. And if you talk about the farrier also was the poor character. So as time goes by, he was also a religious character, but he was a poor, but he go through for well lifestyle, and well lifestyle go through to earn money and left his like duties. If we talk about the four think of human psychology, the Chaucer well learn about the human psychology, how the human psychology is happening. So I would like to give you the example of so Chaucer human psychology example by partner tells how the three friends they when they found gold in a particular place like in a under the oak tree, and they plan to each other when the little character come back to bring food for us, we will kill him. But the young character who was going to serve them food, he also mix poison on a wine. And when two character they kill the little character, killed the little character, then they drank the wine and they died. So it's the Chaucer shows the human psychology, how the human psychology is existing. They were planning to each other, and the little character wanted to kill them to earn all gold, but he didn't know that the other side of two his friend will kill him. Sir, this is the human psychology, sharpness and individuality. If the Chaucer was like show is sharpness through like the night, and the second wife of Bath, how the night the struggle, how the night a night they struggle, and to find out the thing that when the queen demanded they find out the what the woman want from a man. The 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 knight like suffered, and he find out the well solution of the problem, sir. Sir, third thing is balance and description of character. The Chaucer, like if you talk about the Canterbury Tales to the prologue, the Chaucer like describe the all character with the balance, sir. Okay, sir. So physical appearance. The Chaucer also described the physical appearance knight and esquire. Knight was not conscious about his dress, but conscious about his duty. But the esquire conscious about his duty. oh sorry, the esquire conscious about his dress and everything. If we talk about the wife of Bath and the Piraeus also, she was a religious women, and she was uh, very conscious about her duties, about her parents, etc. Sir, next sir. Okay, if you talk about the contrast, I would like to the Chaucer also describe the contrast of the characters. So if you talk about the monk versus clerk Oxford, the monk was not doing his duty except earning money, but on the other hand, the poor clerk of Oxford who did not have who did not have well lifestyle, who did not have well wearing thing, but even that he was doing his duties. And on the other hand, the monk was not doing his duties except to hunting and corruption. On the other hand, yes, Chaucer is a universal. If you talk about the Chaucer, another quality Chaucer arts of characterization is the university. They are not for an age but for all ages. The Chaucer described all things like not for a particular age, but on the upcoming age also. Chaucer described that, like the things, like if we talk about the night, the night tells, these things also exist in our modern era, how the people are reacting with each other, brother and brother, they are reacting with each other for a property and a particular thing. But this that was not a particular thing, but all but but that was not a particular age, but for all ages. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yes, Walaikum Salam.
Sir, I was disconnected, so if you have any question regarding my presentation, so you can ask, sir.
Name?
Muhammad Usama, sir.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, Manur Mazarza Yari present?
Yes, sir. Should I continue?
Yes. Let me open
Okay.
your ones. Start. Continue.
Fables are as allegory. Fables are represent a type of allegory, often in illustrating a moral through the use of animal characters. For instance, in the tortoise and the hare, a have make fun of a for being slow, but when the two race, they have things. The hare thinks he is so fast that he can afford to take a break. The tortoise who maintain a regular pace wins. The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. Sir, the next. Why we use allegory? A story that contains allegory usually has a double meanings. Often the literal meaning is designed to entertain the reader. Underlying all allegorical meaning has a profound message or uh, social commentary that the author wants to portray. Satire is a technique employed by writers to expose and criticize foolishness and
Are
corruption
you
of
reading?
an.
Are you reading or telling in your own words?
So I'm explaining the slide.
Yeah, so explain the
The
slide.
function
Reading. It seems
of
as if you're
allegory
reading.
pop. Second point, the function of allegory app pop up more often than we realize. If we can understand how allegory works, we can see the allegory, especially in satire. Satire is one of the most commonly used and effective meanings of making social commentary that the author wants to portray. That's all.
What is your topic? आपका टॉपिक क्या है?
Allegory.
Allegory. अब मुझे थोड़ा
So-
मुख्तसर बता दें कि what do you understand by allegory by studying Spencer's Fairy Queen?
Yes,
It is-
sir.
What do you understand by Spencer's Fairy Queen? It is the allegorical poem.
Sir, as it used as a symbol.
Yes. बताएं जल्दी से.
We use it as a symbol.
और स्पेंसर की जो पोएम है फेरी क्वीन, उसमें बताया कि एलिगोरी वो एलिगोरिकल एग्जांपल है. इट्स अ वेरी गुड एग्जांपल ऑफ एलिगोरी एंड आई टॉट यू इफ यू रिमेंबर एलिगोरी in the light of Spencer's Fairy Queen. So what do you understand by this? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next, कौन था? Ismahan. Ismahan
Yes, sir,
present?
present. Yes, sir.
Okay. Start.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Ismahan Taj from Bachelor's, and today my presentation topic is Chaucer's Art of Characterization. Art of Characterization. First, I tell you what is art. Art means a skill, ability to do something. Every skill you have, people call it as art. He has art that he can do it and do the things very well. If you are a good writer, people call him, he has an art of writing. This is we call art. And what is characterization? Characterization is a literary device that's used step by step in literature to highlight and explain the details about a character in a story. Characterization of a character who is in a story, we describe and give details step by step, not directly, but gradually we describe the character is called characterization. Please change the slide. So Chaucer used many art of characterizations, many art in describing in the characters. So first is physical appearance. Physical appearance. Through physical appearance, Chaucer defines the character and the most prominent knight and squire. If we talk about the knight, knight is not conscious about dress, but conscious about his duties as well. If we talk about the squire, squire is conscious about his duty and dress as well. It is the physical appearance. And if we talk about the wife of Bath and Pierce, the female characters, wife of Bath, tight red clothing tell about her well. If she is wearing good clothes and showing her personality by looking by he is describing he describe her, she is wearing blue gown or whatever she is wearing. The dress is describing just her wealth, as she is the leather shoes and new. If you talk about the Paris is such a religious character in contemporary tales. So worn cloak adorned with jewelry. It means that in the physical appearance, if we want to judge a person by looking at her clothes, we will know about the class and the wealth of a person. Change, please, sir. So in the second, he uses irony and satire to describe a person. to characterizations and characters. Chaucer used irony and satires much in contemporary tales. First, I want to tell you what is irony. When we criticize someone and it contrast begin, and it would be between expectations and reality. And what is satire? A kind of writing ridiculous upon weakness. The purpose of satire is to bring reformation in the society. If we use, it does not use bitter satire. If we see in the beginning of contemporary tales, he started the journey with the romantic season. He is calling the journey is a romantic season, but it is a mile away, which was started in the spring. So how can we call it the romantic season? So it means that he uses the irony in at the start of the contemporary tales. Thanks, please. The contrast. Chaucer depicts his character through good and bad characters. It is we see this from in any novel or any short stories. So if we talk about the monk was a religious person. He performs his duties not very good. He was not conscious about his duties. But if we talk about the killer performs his duties very good. It is a contrast between monk and clerk at Oxford. And the most prominent characters, knight and squire. So if you talk about that knight, he was racy, he was conscious in his race and his duties as well. He is conscious about his dress and duties. But if you talk about the squire, he was not conscious about his dress, but he was very good. He was very good performing his duties. Next, please, sir. Type as well as individuals. The characters are not only representative of their respective classes and profession, but also at the time they possess individual traits. Yes, they in this term we can say that they were not only the giving duties are performed by the characters, but they Chaucer also represent them as the individual traits. Individual traits, for example, if we talk about the monk was not no sorry. If we talk about the clerk, he was not he was good at religious person, but he also no sir sorry sorry sir monk. If we talk about the monk was a religious person, but he loves the literature of the society. Also his inner feelings shows in the contemporary tales. Next, sir. Universal. Another quality Chaucer's art of characterization in the universality. They are not for any age but for all ages. Yes, in this term we can say that the characters he has made in the contemporary tales or any poem, they were not only for the particular age, but they were universal. They are for each and everything, the ages for the past ages or for the future ages as well. Next, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Chaucer's art of characterization. How do you read? You have also read Shakespeare. Have you read Shakespeare?
Sir, not much.
But you have read somehow because you're a student of 5th semester. You must have knowledge of Shakespeare. What do you understand by his characterization? Shakespeare is also known for his characterization. Chaucer is definitely a master of characterization. So, what do you think about them? How do you compare them?
Sir, I do not know much about the Shakespeare characterization because we have not been studying for 1.5 years. I haven't touched the books as well.
My dear, you have been the student. You are the student of the BS 5th semester. You have spent 2.5 years, almost 2.5 years. You are going to spend, and you don't know about
Sir, in the
Shakespeare.
1.5 years, sir, I know about Shakespeare, but unfortunately, I forgot.
Okay, thank you. Uzma.
Thank you, sir.
Uzma present.
Yes, sir.
So I'm playing your one right now. Start, please. Uzma Bibi.
Yes, sir.
Start, please.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone. My name is Husma and I'm the student of BS English 5th semester. My topic of presentation is today Periqueen. A description of Periqueen. Periqueen was written by Spencer in 15.
Excuse me, see the slides and explain the slides. These things are noted, remember. I'm observing all these things, whether you're looking at the slide or you're reading on your own or what are you doing, whether you're explaining or not. Then I give you marks. So please keep these things in your mind.
Yes, sir. The Fairy Queen 1590 is an epic poem by Edmond Spencer, which was written in 1552 to 1599, which follows the adventure of a number of medieval knights. Means it follows the adventures of medieval knights. The poem, written in the deliberately archaic style, draws or history and myth, particularly the legends of Arthur. This poem is written on based on archaic style, means which represent the previous ages, and it is the history as well as the myth. It follows the history as well as the myth. Next slide, sir. Next slide. Each book follows the adventures of knights who represent a particular virtue: holiness, temperance, chastity, friendship, justice, and courtesy. This book follows all these elements and who has the quality in him or herself tested by the Lord. The Fairy Queen is an allegorical work in praise of Elizabeth. It's an allegorical. Spencer wrote this book in allegory of Elizabeth I to praise her. The poem is unfinished. Spencer's original plan was for 12 books, but he have just 7. The last being incomplete. The first 3 books were published in 1590 and the second 3 in 1596. Spencer's plan was to write 12 books, but unfortunately, it didn't complete his plan. There are 7 books on Fairy Queen, but the last one is incomplete. Sir, next slide. Book 1, summary. Book 1, which is centered on the virtue of holiness as embodied in the Red Cross Knight. The book 1 follows. The book 1 is like tells us about the Red Cross Knight and our wife and the holiness, how she saved Red Cross Knight. First book follows this. The second book is centered on the virtue of temperance as embodied in Sergen, who is tempted by the feeling Archimago into nearly attacking the Red Cross Knight. Second book for third is centered on the book third is centered on the virtue of chastity as embodied in Britomont, Lady Knight, rescuing after the events of book 2. This book also is also on the link with the second book. Guyon and Arthur meet Britomont, who wins the just with Guyon. Means the Arthur meet the Bortimant and who both win the just. Book 4. Despite the title, the legend of Campbell and Telamon of friendship, Campbell's companion in book 4 is actually named Trimont, and the plot does not center on the friendship. The 2 men appear only briefly in the story. The next slide. Book 6 is centered on the justice as embodied in Sir Hartigal. The book 7 is centered on the virtue of courtesy as embodied in Sir Calidore. Next slide, sir.
Can you explain a bit? Book 5 and
A
6.
bit of
Can you explain a
book
bit
5
about
and
book 5 and 6 in simple words?
sir, in book 6, there is the justice which was given to Artigal, and book 7, courtesy has been given to Sir Calidor.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Urush is Urush has Urush done? Urush present?
Yes, sir.
So I'm playing your one.
Okay.
Start.
Starting with the name of Allah, who is the most beneficent and most merciful. Today, sir, as a representative of his age. Sir, next one. Edmund Spencer. Edmund Spencer was born in London in 1552. Edmund Spencer was called the poet's poet, the prince of the poets, and the sunrise of the English poet, because Edmund Spencer was the first major poet after Chaucer. Edmund Spencer was one of the premier craftsmen of a modern English. Edmund Spencer left the schools and attended Pembroke College, Cambridge. Edmund Spencer was the famous poet in his century. So next slide. Now here we have the works of Edmund Spencer. There is works, the Shepherd's Calendar, the Fairy Queen, Prothamilia, Astropilia, and Colon Collects come again in 1559. So next slide. The Shepherd's Calendar. Shepherd's Calendar was published in 1579. This was Spencer's first major work, Shepherd's Calendar. The Shepherd's Calendar is a poetic that consists of 12 eclogues. Eclogues means the Shepherd's Calendar was written in a dialogue form. Shepherds used lots archaic words in this work, which were inspired by Chaucer. When the Edmund Spencer wrote the Shepherd's Calendar, so that time the Chaucer was inspired about the Shepherd's Calendar. The shepherds in each story are believed to depict people from the Spencer's lives, include himself. It was a work of Shepherd's Calendar was the ecologic Shepherd's Calendar. So next slide. The Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen is the most of the recognized work of Spencer. It is an epic poem. And the Fairy Queen, the first 3 books were written while the Spencer was in Ireland. The main character in each symbolic of the virtues he taught the most important life. Spencer, being protest, had undertone in his work and the evil of the Catholic Church. Thus, his character could defeat this evil when Christian virtues. When Christian virtues that time and the Protestant and the Catholic. The next slide. The Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen. In a letter, Sir Walter Raleigh Spencer outlined the 24 books of the Fairy Queen. Here are some books like initially planned the Fairy Queen. The virtues of our first six books are represented: the holiness, temperance, Christianity, friendship, justice, and courtesy. Holiness shows the Red Cross Knights were represented holiness. Roman Catholic Church represent the stand against as her hero to defeat her wicked in evilness. And temperance.
Speak loudly,
temperance
speak loudly. Kari, speak loudly. Voice coming very low.
Temperance. Okay, sir. Temperance is portrayed as the means by which the human can achieve the strength of power and the other, and the friendship. Is also the virtues of the Fairy Queen, which one of the knights of the alone, and the courtesy. Courtesy is also the book the Fairy Queen, which were written which were written in the Fairy Queen.
Your voice is very low.
So next slide. And the characteristics of Spencer poetry: a perfect melody, a rare sense of beauty, a splendid imagination, a lofty moral purity and sensory, a delicate idealism. So a splendid imagination which could gather into the poem hero knights, ladies, throwing the ideal of the Renaissance, all passing in the gorgeous procession, every changing the beautiful landscape, and the delicate idealism which could make all the natures and every common things beautiful in contrast with these note the strange appearance of absolute in, in, inspiring, in Spencer idealism is learn of the beauty. Thank you, sir.
So there were lots of disturbances in your voice. Okay, your topic was Spencer as a representative of his age. So which age does Spencer represent? Answer my question. Which age does he represent? Yes. Can you hear my question? Okay, thank you very much. So how many are remaining? I have one more session. I am starting after 3 to 4 minutes, right? And that will be the last session of for poetry's presentation. See you after 5 minutes. See you after 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes.
Okay.